My name is Manon van Kouswijk. So I have been thinking about that question of what would be my most precious tool, but I honestly can't come up with anything. When I started studying goldsmithing, which was in 1985, we had to buy like a box with tools for the study. And so most of my tools are basically the tools that I had to buy for my study back then. And I still use them because they're still fine. And I'm very bad at throwing things away that still work. I don't like that. So, I'm happy to have something for my entire life. But with the tools, I do realize at the same time that I'm not like emotionally attached to them or anything like that. I use them, but they don't have a lot of meaning to me particularly. I could come up with something from my kitchen that I'd be a lot more attached to than to my goldsmithing tools. And I think there is something about it that it has to do with my aversion to the kind of traditional hang-up with technique. So, I did this technical education, which was all very sort of precise and technical and thorough and good, but it didn't interest me that much because it had nothing to do with art, really. And so then I went to art school, and there the idea was that this whole thing of technique was completely taboo. But that actually suited me fine because I quite agreed with it that, at some point it really doesn't matter it matters how you make something, but it also doesn't in a way. This whole thing of skill and, mastery and virtuosity and all that sort of stuff, that's great. But it's not a guarantee for making interesting work. Most of my work comes out of some sort of process where I develop an idea, and then once I know what I want to do, I then choose the material and whatever kind of tool I need, and then I just use that. So it can be anything. I use my goldsmithing equipment to work with plastic and wood and whatever happens to be. I also use my box cutter a lot. So one of my works I make out of paper clips. So I get paper clips at Office Works, like the sort of larger size, and then I make them straight as much as possible. And then I use my box cutter to cut the plastic and to take it off the metal. So, I think that's kind of an example of something. If I wasn't trained as a goldsmith, maybe I wouldn't come up with the idea of doing that. So there might be something there that still originates from, this way of looking and way of working. But of course, it's also quite removed from it.